Welcome, welcome. Today we have Chrissy Papetti, who is the first guest speaker in Embodied Abundance. And that was totally done intentionally because Chrissy, I consider to be like one of the best mindset coaches. I've worked with her before and I had incredible results. So I knew in building this program, like she was probably the first expert that came to mind for me. So I'm really, really excited. She's basically setting the tone for the program. And I think it's just, oh, I just think you're so amazing, Chrissy. So welcome.
Thank you for that lovely intro. I so appreciate that. And you know how I feel about you. I am so be a part of this experience and just supporting your magic in all the ways. So thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So Chrissy, tell us about your business and like your zone of genius.
Sure. So, as Jesse said, I'm a mindset and self mastery coach. And really, what my business is all about is empowering people to recalibrate and take the power back over their mind and bodies and build mastery around that so that they're able to really be unstoppable in going after what they want. And, in the mindset world, aptly named mindset, there's so much focus on the way that we use our thoughts and our beliefs and mantras and all these different things from the top down, like using our mind first to create change and transformation, which is incredible. And what I've come to realize over the course of my life, my expertise, my lived experience is that if you don't have your body and nervous system on board, you're not going to get that far. So it's so important to me as a coach to blend the two approaches and really bring in the mastery over the mind, bring in the mastery of the body, and really create this cohesion for true lasting change.
I love it. I love it so much. So tell us, how did you come to your business? What's your story on how you got started?
Sure. So, we could be here all day. So I'm going to do my best to give the spark notes in that really the short story is that I became an occupational therapist and was really just disheartened after kind of leaving school feeling like, whoa, I get to help people improve their health, wellness, quality of life, to just find the medical model felt so restricting to me of how I could really empower people to live their best lives. And so I did the traditional thing for a little bit and ultimately felt like my soul was just getting sucked like further and further out of my body. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like I have incredible jobs, like people would kill for these jobs. Like, is there something wrong with me? Come to find wasn't actually honoring my gifts, my genius, like really living my true like zone of where I should be supporting people. And once I started to connect the dots and started to kind of have the right people, the right mentors, the right ideas, the right podcast episodes like come into my sphere, it was almost like it cracked open this whole entire side of me that I didn't know existed.
Right.
And simultaneously, while I was going through OT school, while I was having this whole like, what should I do? What's my purpose? What's my direction thing? I also was a competitive dancer my whole life and had my identity wrapped up in it. Got injured. My injury totally sidelined me and completely flipped my world upside down and led to 7 years of chronic pain, which all together just made me truly question like, who am I? Why am I here? What is my path now that my purpose isn't dancing? And just led to this whole self-awakening. So really my personal self-awakening and that experience through kind of my life taking a pivot unexpectedly made me look inward and say, what's up? Like, why am I having such a hard time? Why am I facing these challenges? And it came after years of looking around me for all the solutions, all the external like people to tell me what to do and what the answer was. And I finally, after like nearly a decade, was prompted to turn inward, and that completely like snowballed the rest of everything. And that's what
Wow.
led my career and led me to want to do this for
Wow.
my job. Yeah.
It's amazing how like you almost try to follow like a formula for success and happiness. And I see this with everybody who comes into my orbit. They're like, but I did the things, like I got the degrees and I got the jobs, and like where's my happiness? And it of course doesn't work that way, right?
No, it doesn't. And often like that prescriptive path is usually the thing leading us most astray because absolutely no one and nothing else can tell you what you're here to do. So it's a shame that self-discovery isn't at the forefront of that conversation, but I think collectively trying to bring that back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's like such a beautiful time to like be in the world right now because like there's just so much uniqueness going on and entrepreneurship has never been easier. And it just like makes my heart so happy that people are finding more ways to step into their authenticity and like really change the world in their own beautiful personal way. So,
Three more. Yeah.
yeah. So tell us, what are some ways that people can start taking their kind of shadowy aspects and turning that into a strength? What are a few things people can do right now today?
Yeah. So for everyone listening, in case this word shadow is new to you, it's really like the lower expression of who you are that's created and fueled by fear. So over the course of our lives, we picked up messages and things about what we should and shouldn't be, what we can and cannot do, what's bad and good, right and wrong. And we formulated these shadows within our mind and our bodies, these patterns that prompt us to act in ways that don't actually empower us, but out of a fear-based context. So, a classic example is people pleasing, right? Typically that comes from a shadow of being afraid to be perceived as something if you don't like go above and beyond or meet others' expectations. Like, God forbid, if you don't, what would happen? So we hold this shadow that's kind of casting out and making us act in these ways that we know isn't right or isn't empowering us, yet we feel like we can't get out of it. So when it comes to a shadow, and the way that you can start taking action on this now is first identify them, right? Awareness is everything. So if you start to look around and notice the triggers, like how are you being triggered by other people or other things to act in ways that don't feel right, right? And you can detect that in your body, just like in that kind of intuitive sense, or you can even just feel like a rise in anger or frustration. These are usually those key marker triggers of like, something's not quite right. And I'm being shown that like there's something in me that's, not in alignment. And when you identify them, the coolest thing about this is that we typically think of them as something we need to get rid of, or that they're bad and we need to change or like, release. And yet they hold the answers to the very gifts that we need to learn in order to show up in our highest expression. So they're not actually there just to trip us up. They're there to teach us the very thing within them that we need in order to be who we're here to be. So for example, if you are going back to that people pleasing, if you are being tripped up by being perceived as not good enough, so now you're people pleasing to like overcompensate.
Right.
The gift within that could be many different things, but for you, it could be boundary setting. Like this could be the first time that you're ever like being like shaken awake to say like, wow, I really need to create boundaries around like what my time and energy is or is not going to, and how like revolutionary is that when you actually take action on that. It could also be something like, people pleasing. The gift could be self-assurance. So it's teaching you for the first time, like, you don't need anyone else to validate you in order to rise up or in order to achieve something or in order to like go after what you want. So they hold the clues and the context to like everything that we really need in order to up level. It's just most of us don't look at it that way. So that's like one of the best ways to just start taking action like now.
I love that. That's so perfect. It's just kind of like emotions too, right? Like we always think like, oh, I got to get rid of the bad emotions. And it's like bad emotion is part of the human experience. And the best way to like remove it is to like feel it, sit in it for a bit, and then it'll dissipate on its own. Like that's how it works, right? So I love that. Yeah. So where can people find you, Chrissy?
You can find, it's super straightforward because you can just put Chrissy Papetti pretty much anywhere. So Chrissy Papetti is my handle on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at chrissy.papetti. And you can also go to www.chrissypapetti.com. Just jazzed up my website over there. So take a look. You'll find Jessie on there too, which is super exciting. But you can really find me anywhere. I'd love to connect and talk to you all things about turning your shadows into superpowers and beyond. So
I love that. And I can't wait. It's going to be so great to talk to you in September 4th, which is so exciting. So right around the corner.
Yes, I can't wait.
Already.
I know. I mean, how is that happening already?
Time definitely isn't real anymore, for sure.
Agreed. I don't know what month it is, what day it is, but I think we're getting into the fall.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chrissy, for taking the time to chat with me today. And I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to it. And for everybody else, have a good day and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.